Hello everyone, good evening and welcome back, and once again another unfamiliar yet sometimes familiar face. I'm joined by Elfish Guy.
Overpass! Oh, that's not what you meant.
No,
oh, it's me.
I'm not talking about the tunnel behind us, I'm talking about you in particular.
Right. Well, it is a good thing that we're in the sewers in Overpass, because now I'm here and I'm going to make this show even worse, Kevin.
I don't think that's... No, that's not how it works.
You don't think so?
We don't... Okay. We banter, but we don't start at 10 seconds in towards a show by putting ourselves into the proverbial tunnel back there.
Into the sewers. Well, look, I'm actually quite excited to be here on Overpass, even though we're not going to be playing Overpass today, because, I don't know, it's kind of something new. I've never casted from Overpass, so exciting times.
I mean, yeah, it is a little bit different here today, but it is quite nice here. Let's take a quick look at the standings for the ESL Pro League. Obviously, if you've been watching the last couple of days, probably follow the progress, but if you've just joined in, pretty much the same old story. Optic, SK, Liquid near the top. Misfits, NRG, and Renegades looking pretty comfortable to kind of close out those top 6 positions. Yep. And now it's the real question of whether Cloud9, probably Immortals, Illuminati, and maybe even Splice can push their way forward. And CLG had a really strong start in the season, but now starting to, well, I haven't played as many games as the others, and that's the first thing, but they're now looking to make a serious push to probably make their way into the finals as well. And, well, for Rogue, complexity, and Ghost Gaming, and I'd say particularly for Ghost Gaming and Rogue, it is more of a situation for these developmental teams to try to make their way up a little bit more so they don't.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's the worst situation for someone like CLG, even though you mention it. As far as I'm aware, they're sitting on 20 points, which is only like 8 points behind Misfits, who are on 28 in 4th place. So overall, even though CLG are sitting in 11th place, given the fact that they do have so many more matches to play than everyone else, and they're not that far behind, I think they can still make a bit of a climb here in this season.
But to the extent, it's like... They can't, it's like Cloud9. You can't be complacent and go, look, we've still got tons of games. And you finally lose a couple of critical games. And then we all know how that story goes. You don't want to be going into the final match day and be like, okay, we have to win these 2. And then hope that these teams then get this result. You want to have your destiny firmly in your own hands. You don't want to always rely on the luck of the draw.
Yeah, now obviously I haven't been casting much NA Pro League at all this season. I think I've done 1 match day before this one.
Yes.
But the main thing that you notice there, at least for me, is like Cloud9 is really not performing to the level that we saw from them last season. I mean, they were up the top. They were 1st place last season, and coming into this season, they're sitting in the middle of the pack, which obviously you say, you know, most things are fairly similar. You've got Liquid up the top, you've got Optic up the top, but Cloud9 not up the top, so that's a bit disappointing for them, I think.
Well, I'd say as well, it's the lineup changes for Cloud9. We've talked about this in the previous match days alongside with old mate Mitch about how I think they're struggling as well. And you can kind of make a parallel towards the ECA Mountain Dew Leagues, teams that have come out of the developmental league, is that a lot of the time, when you bring in new members, you're seeing the changes not only happen to Cloud9 at the beginning of the season, but also the other teams. It does set you a little bit more back, and it makes your results a little bit difficult to proceed forward because you're always trying to build structure, but you can't try to build structure if your pieces are continually changing. It's like earthquakes happening every now and then. Okay, so one person has changed out. A small earthquake has happened. Oh, okay, a little bit of damage, but we can repair and, you know, cover up the cracks for now, and then obviously we can build to greater heights. But if a massive earthquake comes in and there's no repairing efforts that are substantial enough, then that's what happens.
Honestly, I thought you were going to go for another food analogy, like what you were talking to me about before.
Not today. I mean, I was talking a little bit about food analogies, but after your Wheat Bix this morning, I don't think necessarily I'll talk about food too much.
No, my Wheat Bix was not a good time. Maybe like similar to how Cloud9's season is going so far.
It is a little bit more on the up and up. It's just rough as well. As we take a look for the schedule for match day number 16, it has been a little bit rough for them because, I mean, it's going close against teams like Rogue. Rogue, sure, they put in a lot of effort to get themselves in this situation. Rogue were in a position yesterday to potentially take the 2-0 against Cloud9, but the inexperience didn't allow them to clean it up. Taking a look at the matches today, complexity versus Immortals. Immortals with their changes made me, you know, scared a little bit, and complexity are still one of the teams that I just come up with no words describing complexity sometimes.
Right.
Times they show up, I'm just like, this is absolutely amazing. I love seeing like complexity play like this, and other times I'm like, have they forgotten how to play Counter-Strike, or are they just playing something else completely? Because I cannot analyze it.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it earlier before we got on the stream, and you were like, should we call them complexity, or should we just call them inconsistency? Because that's kind of what they are at the moment.
It is, because it's so frustrating. I'll elaborate that more later on after we just take a look at the rest of the schedule. Ghost versus CLG later, and we're talking about CLG need to take the 2-0, but Ghost similarly, if they can probably steal one map of CLG, definitely doable, would bolster their chances of trying to stay in the Pro League. Over on the mainstream, a little bit jelly. Misfits versus SK first up, and then Liquid versus Optic Gaming. Liquid versus Optic, jeez.
That number 1 and number 2, isn't it? Or number 1 and number 3?
Optic's number 1. Regardless of which way you put at it, it's going to be an absolute blockbuster match.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit jelly. A lot of the time I can make cases for or against, for like matches to watch. You know, there could be a couple of headliners on the mainstream, but over here you've got 2 other teams that know how to kind of fight Counter-Strike. And then this time around, it really isn't that case. It's like CLG, they play structured, but how shaky are they versus Ghost, which is a team which is really just struggling so far in the Pro League. And then you've got Liquid, who are now just storming their way up, looking like they're going to be a top 5 team inside of the entire world so far, taking against EU teams, against the top teams, and Optic, who are, I guess, shaky as well. They had a really strong start to the season, but they're now coming in, a couple of cracks showing. They're not completely undefeatable.
But I guess that is more or less NA Counter-Strike in a nutshell, really. Like, you can see that strong individual performances from pretty much everyone. Like, we know individually speaking, the region is very rich in terms of talent. But when it comes to teamwork and all that sort of stuff, then sometimes the cracks do begin to show. And, even like last season, there was not any team that you sort of thought was almost invincible. Like, yeah, okay, SK and Cloud9 were up towards the top, and everyone kind of knew that they were going to be at the top and they were going to win. But it wasn't like it was a clean sweep victory for either of them. It wasn't, they still had their moments where they did seem susceptible at least. And so to again see that coming through for teams like Optic and teams like Liquid, who are now at the top, I mean, it's not a huge surprise. So I don't think you can really expect out of this kind of a region anyone to really just be utterly dominant.
That's it. It is a little bit upsetting as well, because they should be able to carry their form towards the best of one against the lower tier teams. And I think that's as well as the lower tier teams, on a good day, they can actually push the top tier teams. And that's what we're talking about complexity. Sure, I may have been, memeing them a little bit by calling them inconsistently, but it's so frustrating. One day, they can take Liquid. They can take Liquid's Cobblestone. Like, my goodness, you can take Liquid's Cobblestone. Next day, yeah, sure, you take it against Splice, but you're struggling your T side. But then on Train, you don't even show up. The map that you took Liquid in towards a triple overtime, you get completely blasted by Splice 16-3.
I can see this means a lot to you, Kevin.
Yesterday was just one of the okay, so match day number 13 was like a bizarre match day in the sense that we started off with a 16-0, and then every single other match was really close. Like with teams that should have been not so close against the top tier teams, like SK versus Splice. You got to be giving it towards SK most of the time, especially considering they 16-0'd first map, then they lost overtime on Inferno. They haven't picked Inferno ever since.
Yeah, I think there's no surprises there.
And then Liquid versus Complexity, and I'm like, look, Complexity can show up and definitely have a good showing. They 16-13, 16-14 against Optic. Didn't win, but came very close and had some good structured Counter-Strike. Really surprised me with their depth of strategies on the T side for Train. Yeah. Took it against Liquid all the way towards triple overtime. Didn't win that one, but then took Cobblestone. And then the day afterwards, they lose against Splice. Like, there's no consistency there. For a lineup which is where you can just go, you look at it sometimes when they're playing on, it's like, this is so beautiful to watch. I love the players in Complexity. The next time, they just do these bamboozling things and I just get completely confused and I just shake my head. But enough about Complexity. Hopefully it's not Simplicity to show up today. It is Complexity. Immortals, on the other hand, we've been talking a lot about the lineup and saying, I don't know.
What's going on?
Major finalists, they've changed a lot of their lineups, but there is a lot of talent inside this team right now. Destiny has been showing that he deserves a spot in Immortals. Yep. Really that diamond in the rough that seems to be shining even more now that he has a very, very good team around him. Horvey, obviously the newest addition. I mean, not newest, the oldest newest addition, really, considering that he has been waiting for his visa clearance for a very long time. He's finally been cleared to play. Yeah. Has been having a few good matches as well. Looks like he's a solid rifler. And Zach, I mean, he's the coach. It doesn't look like ZQK has come in yet, even though they've signed ZQK. Potentially, they're looking to pick up an AWP because we were discussing it's all of a sudden this lineup is actually looking really, really solid. Yep. They're winning matches against teams where normally most people wouldn't be giving them chances with a fill-in from Zach, who who isn't doing that bad as a player coach. You don't expect a coach to be dropping, 30s and 40s. He's doing his job, doing reasonably well, but what they need right now is probably a tier 2 AWP or a tier 1 AWP, train him up, get him structured inside Immortals, and they can definitely still fight their way back in.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, when you were talking about Immortals there and you say, oh, they're major finalists, I sort of thought, wait, are they? And then I was like, yeah, they are. And
they are.
It's like, to me, to say that about Immortals, it never really seems to fit to me. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense, even though I know that they are, but I just don't feel like they were a major finalist kind of a squad, and obviously they are, but yeah, now things have changed a little bit. Obviously that roster's a bit different now coming through, and I'm excited to see how this Immortals roster does end up working out, because obviously last season I think Immortals were a very, very exciting team to watch, probably my most favorite team to, or my favorite team to watch, alongside maybe even Luminosity from last season. Like I really enjoyed watching those Brazilian matches, and even when they were going head to head, that was even better. But I hope this Luminosity roster does well in this season. And so far they're doing okay. Like they're sitting in the middle of the pack, which is definitely not too bad for them, considering all of those roster changes that they've been having. So
absolutely.
Overall, I mean, it's not a terrible situation for them. They'd probably want to get the 2-0 tonight just to boost themselves up a little bit. But I don't know if that's really like a solid sort of a chance for them. Do you think like a 2-0 is definitely something that Immortals should be going for here? Or is it the form maybe not quite on there?
No, they should be going for the 2-0. Okay. Their form is like absolutely on point so far. Right. Like they've been struggling in terms of like, trying to figure out exactly which core 5 players to play with. Mm-hmm. And they're still winning matches. They're still taking it like a 1-1 against Optic. They're still showing up and doing well. Like, when you look at that Immortals lineup with all these new people coming in, and then against Optic on overpowers, you should be like, yeah, this should be a pretty easy match for, it should be a pretty easy match for Optic. But they get 16 forward. So this Immortals lineup, all of a sudden, it's not a lineup where I can just go, you have to completely count them out. Sure, they're down near the bottom or near the middle right now. They still have a lot of games to play. They can make a late resurgence into it, and by the time they solidify their lineup at 5, and like I said, I think all they're missing right now is legitimately an AWPer.
Right.
I don't know who's actually calling for them in particular, but maybe a caller/AWP.
I know a Brazilian caller/AWPer.
Yeah, that's not playing for SK, right? If only you could get him from SK, but I don't think that's a potential. That's a possibility. But what I was saying is that I don't really necessarily agree with the addition of ZQK, because even though he's an AWPer and an IGL, he hasn't particularly impressed me with both roles when he was part of Ghost Gaming, and I don't see that changing coming in towards this Immortals lineup, unless he's like, I don't know, just grinded out probably 4 or 5 weeks of DM, has hit the textbooks on how to become like the best Counter-Strike IGL/AWPer.
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's that easy.
I don't see it particularly happening. So, yeah.
All right, well, we'll see if this is going to work out here on Mirage for Immortals. Now, coming into this map, it's not a map that Immortals do play all that much. I mean, in the last few months, they've only played it like 4 times, as far as I'm aware, and at that, it's only a 50% win rate, so it's definitely not looking too amazing for them. On the other hand, though, it is complexity's pick. They're probably going to be feeling relatively comfortable coming into this one.
I hope so.
They should be feeling comfortable. You would hope that they're feeling comfortable. On your own map pick, if you're not feeling comfortable, there's something wrong.
No, I say I hope so, because yesterday Complexity and the T side were very lackluster, and it was to the extent where yesterday's final series with Complexity and Splice really did make me shake my head. So hopefully they've composed themselves today, and we'll be able to bring some structured Counter-Strike, some good firepower. The players will be switched on, ready to play some Counter-Strike, because they're fast up through short. They're not aware of the one on ladder. They don't even what?
They don't even check
What the heck, Steel? You can't. This is not Smurf matchmaking. You've just unsilenced your USP.
1-0 to Immortals as they start off with a very, very clean pistol round. What's wrong, Kevin?
I'm not tilted this time from Complexity. Like, Immortals have just had Steel just unsilence his USP and just rail people. That's just the epitome of just going, you know what, you guys are nothing. Like, how many times do you see a professional player unsilence a USP?
No.
Worse spread, worse accuracy, makes noise, which is something that you don't want the USP to be making. And he still does it anyway, because why not? Kills 2 people, successful B-side hold where everyone stays alive.
Yep, perfect start for Immortals, really. Complexity going to come into this one with the Force Buy. Did not get the bomb, get the bomb down, sorry, in that first round, so they're not able to get the full AK buy into round number 3. And so they have gone pistols and armor. Lack of head armor, though, for Slemmy and Yay. Peter as well. Missing any armor at all, being the AWPer here for Complexity. Trying to save up as much as he can. And Zach is going to go for a bit of a push here through apartments. Only spots out 1 or 2, but actually does go down as well. So that little bit of aggression, that little bit of an information play out from the CTs It's not worked out too well to start things off, and in theory it is actually a retrievable gun there for compLexity, but only a UMP, so worst comes to worst for Immortals. If compLexity do retrieve that gun, it's not going to be a terrible situation. It's not like it's, for example, an AK that's going to be able to 1B them. Obviously the CT side not going to be able to pick up those AKs, but the idea is obviously that it's not really the most impactful of weapons.
A really, really poor smoke, but they still managed to just sneak by, and Android is the player to do the damage, but Destiny, he's been having some great games so far on the side of Immortals, and once again, shuts down just a little bit of danger. They shouldn't suspect... What? I think Horvey lagged out. That's unfortunate. That's a really bad time to be lagging out, because now it's giving away free guns, and Immortals... Well, we should be seeing a technical pause if that issue is not resolved, but... That's the only thing I see, right? It's like, if Horvey is like that and not responding, then there's a technical issue. Like, you don't suddenly... have that happen towards you. And he's surrounded from all angles. They're all peeking him individually, but Slemmy will still win it with a UMP. So Immortals gift away a very easy round. I'd say unfortunate as well, because Horvey would have been in that position. No? Okay, he's still up there. I don't know what happened.
I mean, it could have just been like a micro stutter or something.
That was a huge micro stutter. That would have been a macro stutter.
I don't know. Anyway, whatever the case is, compLexity do win that round, and so Immortals are forced back onto a supplier of their own. compLexity's buy is not perfect, I mean, but they've staved all the guns through, so it's 2 UMPs, 2 M4s, and from us, exactly what Immortals ran into the previous round with. But Immortals, I mean, they've got their guns, they've got their pistols, and we'll see if they're going to be able to make something happen in this one. Connector is smoked off by compLexity as they make their way up into the B bomb site. None of the CTs have been spotted out just yet, and Steel holding a close angle with that CZ. Let's see if he can make something happen here. The answer is no, as he's shut down by Android. Destiny's able to find one, but realistically speaking, that's probably not enough in this situation.
If he was able to drop the bomb carrier and the bomb stayed up there, it would have given Immortals a bigger chance, but now compLexity have been able to get the bomb plant down. Yeastar still watching towards the B apps line, just jump spotting it. There's too many angles for Destiny to check, and he has to rely on the player from markets to kind of bust out and try to make a move. Does use a smoke grenade. There's 2 stacked up towards the short archers. Android low might have to concede his gun over, which is an M4 towards the CTs, which would be a dream scenario coming out for Immortals, taking a few guns away and doing some further damage. But they can hear him exiting right now. But there you have it. Destiny striking once again, picks up another kill. So even though if he goes down, he's done a little bit of damage to keep the T side a little wait forever and allow the players of compLexity just to take map control, because you'll eventually lose. As Horvey drops off a balcony, compLexity will note that there is one member on the A bomb site, and there it is. Destiny's going to strike towards B, and now Immortals going to start rotating to A, and compLexity needs to start punching their way on towards the A bomb site. They're still clearing out slowly. Horvey's going to take some damage, and oh my goodness, my cash out Yeastar does heavy damage, but Android will be able to get the pick, and now Bolts can't let the headshot, and Android will be able to do so.
Zach has got himself a deagle here, and if he just spams through that smoke, there's a few kills available to him. 2 very low HP players. In fact, Steel is going to have a few shots popped off, but not managing to land any of those. And now it's Zach's turn. Again, not really getting any connections. Steel does push through the smoke. The FAMAS goes down for Immortals, and that's the round cleaned up for compLexity. Pretty solid as well. 4 guns alive. compLexity goes 3-1. Immortals will get their first gun round through now.
They actually have a lot of utility to work with, so they can either take things fast or they could opt to take things slower. They know Immortals don't have the most utility in the world, so it's a little bit of fake out. They can just play default and then take late control, but no, they're just going fast towards mid. Destiny's there with the silenced M4. Needs to be careful about spamming away too much because you don't want to be caught with no bullets in reserve. Big downside to only having 40. I don't get it though. It's like, why only take 2 clips with you? I can understand game balance purposes, but in no way would I just be like, okay, I've got a sweet assault rifle. I'm only gonna cart 2 mags with me. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like,
I don't know if Counter-Strike makes sense, to be honest, Kevin.
Because with the A1, you have 3 magazines, and the 30 bullets are the heavier magazines, right? Whereas for the M4, it's 20 bullet magazines, and you can only carry 2 of them.
You got it the wrong way around, but yeah.
What do you mean?
The A4 has the
has
30.
3. Yeah, it has 3 and 30, and then the silence is 20 and 2.
Yeah, you said A1 and M4.
My bad.
Yeah. Anyway, I get what you mean, but game balance. I think that's the only reason, really.
Yeah, but still. Oh, Peter's going to miss the AWP shot.
I was hoping you were setting up for a yeah boy.
No.
Oh. Too early in the morning for that, apparently. Still, though, finds Slemmy, and this is starting to look a little bit better for Immortals now that they have the guns in their hands. A little bit unfortunate for them to lose the anti-eco like they did in round number 2, but this first gun round is well and truly going their way as Horvey finds the first, looking for the spray down in the second, and Peter actually does find Destiny, but overall, a really, really solid gun round out from Immortals. They're going to secure that AWP through as well, and it's 2 and 3. Who's the AWP going to go over to? It is Horvey. Immortals, really, really solid first gun round.
Don't let the fact that Horvey picked up the AWP make you think that he's a primary AWPer, because I've seen 4 people on the side of Immortals. I'm fairly certain I've seen all 5 actually pick up the AWP once in a single game.
5-man AWP setup.
Not a 5-man AWP setup, but each one use the AWP.
Oh.
And normally you don't see that in a team. Normally it's like you have 2 people using it at most, 3 if it's really special, but compLexity will punish Immortals for their over-aggression towards mid. An easy punishment. It means that Immortals do have to try to gamble towards a bomb site or have to go huge on one of the site holds. They know where Zach is, and this should be another round for compLexity and Immortals reset.
Yeah, that would be possibly the worst situation that Immortals could hope for at this point. Zach is holding a very close angle, and we'll get one. Actually, it's still defined Yay there, but not going to be able to get much more than that as Android and Slemmy get 2 nice entries onto the B site. Horvey here, let's see what you've got for us with the AWP. Looks like it's not going to be too much as compLexity do get the bomb down on the B site. First shot does come across there for Horvey, but that's going to be really all he would have hoped for as he falls back a little bit. A 3 versus 1 retake is pretty much just as impossible as a 4 versus 1 retake, particularly when you only have the AWP, and it is the B bomb site. If he can survive Def, that would be amazing for him, but at this point it seems unlikely.
And Def might not. Okay, he does check the corner. I just spotted him out as Horvey was transitioning, so compLexity have reset Immortals one more time. And Immortals will just have to go for the eco right now, unless they want to force up into it, and it looks like they are forcing up. Oh dear. Trying to reset all their money together, but they're losing rounds, and they took the pistol on the back of a very convincing pistol take. Yeah, sure, it's unfortunate. Horvey, you know, something happened towards Horvey at CT. And don't like to bang on about that much, but Immortals, they don't hold the anti-eco, and now they've given themselves a real deficit coming forward, and Slemmy is just going to come forward straight towards underpass and will punish Destiny.
Yep, not a lot that Destiny could do there, short of avoiding the flashbang, but once he was flashed, he was essentially dead. No hope for a trade from him. 1 for 1 at the very worst would have been okay, but not the case, and so compLexity start off nicely. Again, it seems like compLexity keen to get a bit of control of these apartments. It's something that they've done quite a bit so far throughout this T side. And it is keeping Immortals with not a stack over towards B, but they're keeping 2 players in there. They also have that player in underpass quite a bit. And so there's a lot of presence over towards that side of the map from Immortals, which is pretty good from compLexity.
Well, the problem is that Horvey's actually pushed up right now, and he's actually found the AWPer as well. Peter is going to lose his AWP. They know that compLexity is towards the B side. And compLexity, I think their best choice right now is to probably not go B, but they are going to commit regardless. I would have said going through unders would have been a lot better decision, but if you can make the entries work on the back of Slemmy's UMP, sure, why not? But they're not going to suspect the M4. What a spray coming out from Bolts. Knows where the last one is. Damage has been done earlier, and Depth was way too late on the lurk. It's down towards a 1-on-1 now after Horvey does go down. Bolt's got the position. Yeah, he's got the position on apps. Def is not going to suspect this as the smoke comes out. Bolts is just going to lie in wait as Def is just taking his time. He's on 9 HP. A single bullet means that he's dead.
Just as easily a single bullet can be the end of Bolts here, but he's got a great positioning, does spot out Def, and just has to play that time. Very well done from Bolts. 4 kills for them in that round. And that 3-man spray down, that was just incredible. I suppose it was a 2-man spray down and then a flick across with the recoil reset. But still, awesome stuff from him. And so Immortals do come away with a gun round out of what seemed to be nowhere, and it wasn't even really a gun round. It was more of a force buy.
But that's on the back of compLexity losing map control. Immortals, they took the initiative to make it time to push. It worked out favorably. I mean, a few seconds either way, and that would have been shut down on the side of Horvey. And now compLexity just setting up for an A-site take. They don't have the full set of utility. Peter is actually poor as well. They're just going to have to go for this. And let's see how this A-site play works out in Bolts and Horvey. Bolts is playing Ticket. There is Destiny within jungle, though. just still spotting out. And as soon as these smokes and flashes come raining out towards the A bomb site, Horby's in a lot of trouble. There's no incendiary grenade just yet to hold them off. There it is. Actually, sick HE grenade doing a chunk of damage. Horby's going to be mollied off and has to wide swing. On the back of the flashbang, still gets a 1-for-1. Does a little bit more damage towards Yeastar.
Yep.
Good stuff coming out from him. Bolts gets another kill. Oh my goodness, Android's Molotov has not been extinguished at the time, so Destiny will go down through the jungle push. But Bolts has been so good so far, and Bolts will just clean up on the A bomb site. He is now starting to come alive a little bit.
It's good news for Immortals. A couple of rounds in a row finally is going to stabilize that economy just a little bit, enough for them to get a good buy through here. Every single gun round that they've had so far has been a little bit shaky. You know, they've had UMPs here or there. They've had lack of utilities here or there. This time, again, we do have a single UMP for Horby, but overall, finally looking like a strong one. And compLexity do have an eco coming out here. So this is the chance for Immortals now to really start to put pressure on this first half, where compLexity has actually been the ones that have been kind of in the driver's seat, actually, for the first 8 rounds. Now that we're hitting round number 9, Immortals can turn this one back around and start to win the first half.
Been a little bit topsy-turvy so far. I mean, Immortals, the rounds that compLexity did win, Immortals kind of gifted them it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, challenging mid by yourself, generally you don't do that in structured gameplay, right? Like, so what Destiny's doing right now is so risky. Like, you don't normally see this happening, where he decides to just dry peek out. He could have been caught out by Def if Def was just waiting the entire time, watching the angle towards unders, but Bolt should be able to get... No! Bolt did not get head armor, so the man who was doing so much damage before will finally be punished. And they do manage to get information that there's one towards short and one towards A site. Now coming towards B, Zach's got a lot of work to do with the AK-47. He'll be able to clean up alongside with Steel, and Slemmy at least able to get 1 kill, but that's it. No more. Good stuff from the B site. compLexity.
Yeah, it was a decent round out from Immortals, so unfortunately for them, they do lose 2 rifles as opposed to, say, a rifle and a UMP here. So the rebuy is going to be relatively costly, actually, for Immortals here. It means that their money hasn't quite started to build up just yet, but again, we're through with 4 rifles and that UMP. compLexity themselves have gone for 4 rifles. They also have the AWP in the hands of Peter, who's just having a peek into mid here. Doesn't spot too much out. Again, Destiny goes for that peek, but not able to do any damage with that spray. But Immortals need another solid gun round here, really. Like, they were in a position to start to build up that economy. Didn't really happen in round number 9. Again, they're going to need to just stabilize here, because you feel as though if compLexity win this round, Immortals back on an eco, compLexity's right back in it.
Yes, one-way smoke being used by Destiny. compLexity will know it's a one-way smoke because they'll go, no one else through this, and Destiny's not going to use it, though. He's just going to wait and try to find the timing to it, and he actually might use it now and catch up 1 or 2. Especially considering that Destiny's hearing this. So there it is. The timing push comes out. compLexity, they realize a little bit too late. I would have said that that smoke was not thrown. And look at the position coming in from Zach. Android will lose the bomb. They know it's a B-site take right now. And Zach, he knows that Yeast is there, but the trade comes forward. And Peter, there's a time where he has to unscope, and Zach manages to find it. Good stuff coming out from the coach. And Immortals will be able to put compLexity on another pistol round and take an AWP for themselves as well.
Yeah, much better gun round out from Immortals, and now they are looking a lot better. You can see Bolt's 4.7k, Zach 4.3k. Obviously, Steel has to rebuy, but not too big of a deal for him when the rest of his teammates are looking quite good. Horvy's got 6.2k, and the AWP comes into the hands of Immortals once more again, and this time it's another different player using it. Zach, we'll see if he can make any sort of an impact with that weapon. Certainly, Horvy didn't really have much of an impact when he had it in his hands for Immortals, but compLexity, like you said,
that grenade.
Yeah, big grenade. Again, another pistol buy out from from compLexity. This is just, again, that extra chance for Immortals, that extra opportunity for them to really stamp their mark here on the first round, or the first half, sorry. Horby only able to go 1-for-1, but he is that UMP player, and so not too bad, I suppose, as the rest of the players on the A-bomb site do clean up here for Immortals. It is just Peter left alive with only a P250 to work with. Great gun round, or great anti-eco round from Immortals, securing 4 guns through. And there we go. Now the money's looking good for Immortals.
This is the scary part, because Immortals have just been pugging it so far on the CT side. And I really mean they've been pugging it because, in my mind, like, say, for example, that flashbang on the final play, you see a lot of teams normally, they call the flashbang and Destiny wouldn't peek into it. But Destiny didn't care. He's just charging in. So Immortals just right now, maybe having a little bit of competition to see who can do the best out of all of them. And it's working for them, so why not? They can just use their stronger aim. There's the deep incendiary grenade. So what they try to do on the B site with this AWP, and now double AWP setup that has come out, is that they try to take the B apps position and maybe leave 1 towards the A site anchor. And Horby's playing the off angle, the triple. Normally you don't suspect that. And Zach with the AWP takes down Peter. Yeastar won't retrieve the AWP. And we hypothesized that he was a secondary AWP coming in for complexity if they needed it, but it looks like he prefers a rifle a lot more these days, and he's going to opt to stick with the rifle.
No harm in that. The rifle definitely going to be an effective weapon. But Peter not going to be too pleased with that, losing the aim duel AWP versus AWP against Zach. complexity, again, seem to be favoring the B bomb site.
I don't particularly like this because they don't have anything to shift off. They have to use a flashbang. And guess what? Still has some utility to work with. Zach has 2 flashbangs and a smoke. And the way that he's positioned right now is really smart. He's posted enough to kind of spot the angle, but they can't really punish him. And that flashbang's going to miss. So he takes a shot. He does manage to take down Slemmy. And all he has to do is fall back and just wait. So they can play the crossfire. And Steel is just going to mop up 2 more. And now it's all up to Android on the site to play the 1-on-2. He's got time to do so, though. Just going to make sure that his sectors are clear before he gets the bomb plant down. He's planning very, very close. He's going to try and surprise the CTs. Another smoke to work with. Another smoke on the site. And all Immortals are doing right now, they're just locking down the angles. And Horvey might be caught off guard if he's not cautious. Barely missing the headshot. Now Immortals pushing forward. Horvey should be caught off. And Bolts. Now last man left standing. He's pretty good at these 1-on-1 clutch situations, but Android's just a little bit better.
You got him down to 5 HP though, but Android does clutch it out 1v2 there for complexity. Puts them at 5 rounds. Immortals though, given the good work that they've been doing in the gun rounds, in the anti-ecos in the last 5 rounds, which they did win in a row, they are able to afford a buy-through here, so the drought is broken for complexity, but for how long is the real question. If they get reset here again, that's going to be a very, very poor sort of a situation. We maybe even do see that 10-5 come out for Immortals, but there's an opportunity now for complexity to make their way back into this first half. Just need to win this round. They'll probably reset Immortals, and then the half is theirs for the taking.
I don't know why Destiny's peeking in towards mid, just like that. Complexity have shown great adaptation in terms of taking it fast, and a single HE grenade will finish him off in the position. There it is. Complexity. I think they're reading Destiny a little bit right now, and Destiny is playing just slightly too predictable towards the window area, I would say. There's one thing he does all the time, Bolts. He's going to be flashed off the angle for CD Connector, and he has to concede the area, and that's never a good thing when Complexity have a number up. Now a stack happening towards the A-bomb side, and Horvey has managed to make his way towards A-ramp. Only one member of Complexity there, which is going to be the killing machine, Android X23.
Yet has not spotted out Horvey, but Horvey's going to back off here.
I think that Horvey might have just spotted it, but look at position coming out from depth. He's able just to come from behind. I think Steel's aware that this position is open, so would be able to catch... Okay. It's barely... Nearly caught Steel off guard, but Steel was ready and waiting, and now they know they're coming towards the B side. There's a flashbang just to allow Zach to put in the position. He's going to leg up Peter this time. Once again, Peter unable to win the AWP deal. Incendiary Grenade just going to default to try to slow this down a little bit more. Zach just caught out in the open. You can't really wide peek like that, and Steel has a lot of work to do right now with the A4. So many angles to check. They're not going to suspect him in this position, and any time he buys right now is critical for the rest of the members of Immortals to rotate across.
15 seconds.
Yeah, and who's going to be crossing over towards the bomb site? It's going to have to be Slemmy. It's not going to work out. And as soon as Android realizes Slemmy collapses, well, Horvey pushes in. So Complexity, oh my goodness, coming in towards the final 2 rounds, they don't have that much money to work with. And Immortals, I mean, they're playing so loose at the moment. There's like minimal structure in terms of the CT side hold. Normally you see that, yeah, there is structure still. They're rotating around really cleverly. They're rotating around according towards the situation. But Complexity, why does this always happen? They always get the first pick. It's so good, you know, and then they do something so predictable going towards the bomb site. Immortals can read it going forward, and there is nothing that you can do for Complexity. And you're coming in towards the penultimate round, no money to really work with. So either you're to eco this one, next round you'll barely have AK-47s and utility to work with. You might as well force in this round.
Was that what you reckon the Complexity should do? They force into this round?
That's probably what they're talking about at the moment, whether they force or whether they eco. Because 1,700, a lot of their members, I think the richest member was 2.8k. So it's not worth, like, even if you do force in this round in terms of armor and pistols, like, even if you buy a simple pistol this round, we talk a lot about just getting a single, like, no body armor and anything.
Yeah.
You're still going to get wrecked in terms of economy-wise because you're not going to have enough carrying you towards the next round. So they have force in this round. Don't necessarily, like, it's a 50-50, right? It's a coin flip. Like, you got to try something. You're not going to have anything to work with next round, even if you do eco. You might as well try to make something work out on the back of an A-site fake, and that's what it's going to be. 3 people at the A-site going to be throwing these smokes, and then Immortals are going to I don't think Immortals going to be drawn off by this. I don't really think so. Why would you be? You haven't lost the A site this round in particular, A site in particular at all in this entire half. Smokes come forward. They have contingency measures, and Zach is still here, just pushing up with the A4, playing close to the smoke. He's deployed at the right time. Horvey will take down Slimmy. They'll realize nothing else is happening. Now Zach will be able to hear this. He'll be able to back out. Already one pick. Knows that it might be a B site take. Shouldn't be peeking the line necessarily. Should have just fallen back and allowed complexity access to the bomb site. But Alv grants it over an M4. They've allowed to get the bomb plant down, but Immortals just rotate en masse, and I don't think it's worked out particularly well for them, even with this late lurk towards the B side, as Android is going to be found out by the Incendiary Grenade and bullets.
Destiny and Ye will find each other, and Destiny comes up with the advantage, given he has got the rifle, and Ye does not. Now it's just Peter left alive. With P250 to work with, the bomb is not planted too well for him. Oh, no, it is, actually. If someone sits on that, he is going to have shots. Smoke, though, does come down from Horvey, and that's probably going to be the round over. The grenade comes out, but...
Ooh, managed to find the headshot on towards Steel. Where is the trades coming forward from it?
No way.
Immortals, what are they doing? Immortals just push and trade him out. Jeez. Someone just take initiative. It's just a single P250.
I almost thought that he was going to get that second bomb defuse.
I know, and that would have been absolutely huge. So Peter nearly makes it work out. Unfortunately, not in this scenario. They do manage to get the bomb plant down, but look at that buy. My goodness. 3 UMPs would have been good maybe about 6 months ago, but that's just like saying I was maybe good 6 months ago. Doesn't matter right now.
Kevin, I think you've aged very well, my friend.
I've aged poorly.
You're like a good fine wine.
I'm a terrible wine. I'm effectively a goon.
Or cheese.
I am a very, very... You know, like the premium goon bags that you get?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's like as much as you can label premium onto it, it doesn't change the fact that it's goon.
Wow.
Oh, yes, I'm a goon connoisseur. I paid $18 for 5 liters, and it's now the B side free for the taking. Immortals just looking to do some damage in terms of complexity coming onto the bomb site. Destiny coming in fast behind means that they don't even have control of B apps at the stage. They're all boxed in the B site, and surely nothing goes wrong for Immortals right now.
Definitely doesn't seem as though it will be. Destiny coming up big on that rotation, and Immortals are going to secure the first half 10-5. And that's pretty good, actually, considering where they started off. Like, it was 4-2 at one point in the favor of, obviously, the T's, which is complexity. And so to come back and bring that into a 10-5, you know, that's a pretty good result, I think, overall for Immortals. At one point there, with 3 rounds left in the half, we were kind of like, this could either go to sort of 8-7 for complexity or similar sort of a situation, or it could go to 10-5 there for, obviously, Immortals, when it goes 10-5 for Immortals. So I think coming out of that one with a 10-5 is actually pretty reasonable for Immortals. Yeah,
and Immortals, so they've taken the half so far. Now they'll be jumping onto the T side after the break. Can they replicate their success? We'll have to find out. Come back in about 1.5 minutes. Back. It is halftime between Immortals as well as Complexity, and so far Complexity a little bit of rough at the T side. It could have gone in their favor. Some critical rounds not really swinging in their direction, and I'd say that their overall game plan was a little bit too predictable, and Immortals just pugging it up, able to react accordingly, and then their aim was just on point. That was actually it.
It didn't really seem all that difficult for Immortals, did it? Like, I mean, they get 10-5, which altogether is not really the most like whitewash for first half. You know, it's still relatively even. It's still enough for complexity to play with in the second half. I suppose even's maybe not the right word there, but it's enough for complexity to play with. But to me, it felt easier than a 10-5 would kind of dictate for Immortals. It just felt like the rounds that they were getting, that kind of a performance from them would then dictate something like a 12-3 or 13-2 kind of half.
In my mind, it felt like it was on the CT side, right? Immortals, they dropped the anti-eco round first up, and okay, that's unfortunate. Double eco, then complexity up 3-1, and then what is it? They only won 2 rounds afterwards. One was Android clutching out, and I can't remember what the 5th round was. So that's the story of complexity.
They won the second gun round as well.
So they won probably 1 gun round, like 1 serious gun round, or 2 serious gun rounds, and that's it. And the rest of it was like 2 anti-ecos and 1 where it's kind of like Immortals went a little bit too YOLO and it didn't really work out in their favor. So I don't see much hope in terms of complexity. Like I should say not that much hope in their T side, because it looks like the problems are continuing where their attacks seem a little bit too one-dimensional. We're not seeing some cool kind of sick things coming out from complexity, which I'm normally expecting. And when your AWP on Peter is not really firing up, that is definitely not a good way to start, where your AWP, your primary AWP is being out-AWPed by Zach.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was the point I was going to make, in that, yeah, your primary AWP not stepping up is, okay, one thing, which is not great, but to consider the fact that Immortals at the moment don't really have a strong AWP or a primary AWP on their lineup, it just sort of compounds on that issue. And so, yeah, Peter needs to have a pretty good second half here, one would imagine, but he's going to be the first one to go down. Slammy, couple of nice headshots though out of that USP, and the crossfire from Ye is going to give Immortals a bit of a headache here in the form of some bullets in their heads. It's just Bolt's left alive here, 1 versus 4. Not much that you would really expect out of him, and coming in through the underpass doesn't really have an easy chance to get that bomb. It should be being covered off right now by complexity, and indeed it is. Long-range duel with the Glock, not going to work out too nicely for him, and you'd have to expect this round is more or less over.
Not if complexity give 1-1-1, so that's good for complexity to all swing together to just try to team up and take him down. So the pistol round taken by complexity, it gives them a way back into the half, and at least a solid foundation, especially to get the kills on the back of the SMGs, but they do have to be cautious because Immortals will force up in this round. Scout coming out in the hands of Zach.
Let's see what he's going to be able to manage to do with that one. Full pistol and armor out for everyone else. 2 deagles, a couple of CZs, and obviously the great thing about the Scout is that you get 1 tag, and that's, again, a pretty easy cleanup for the deagle. 1 shot pretty much is all you need, regardless of where it hits.
This is what I like to regard as the FFA strat. There's no grenades to kind of like progress your way forward. There's no group up. It's literally, look, just go one-on-one, take aim duels, and just win the game, all right? And that kind of seals the deal for me that Immortals really are just pugging it. Like, they're not... They will be caught off by this though, and Def will be able to swing and get a few picks. So this is actually a really good setup from complexity. But Immortals, once again, they're trying to prey on complexity and going over eager. It's not going to work out in their favor. Bolt's only able to find 1 kill. He'll be lucky to find the second with another deagle shot. Dep looking to run in with the MP9. Flashbang comes forward. Deagle spray does not, and a very, very clean round coming out from complexity.
Yeah, Immortals have gone with pretty much the exact same strategy twice in a row, in the pistol round, obviously, and then in that force buy where they send 3 in through the underpass and they send 2 into the A-bomb site, and both times complexity have read it, and they've been set up very well for it initially with the player on short, with the player in the sniper's nest. And so Immortals, I think, maybe back to the drawing board for them here. This time they're just going to pretty much all rush out into mid. It is a full Glock buy. Well, there is a P250 there or 2, but realistically speaking, there's not really much to write home about here for Immortals in terms of the weapons department. And it's going to be an easy cleanup here for Android. Def as well wants to get involved a little bit, but it seems as though Android is going to clean up everyone bar Zach. So 4 kills for him in that round, and complexity do take away the customary 3 rounds after their pistol. But now Immortals have got that buy through, and this is the difference now. Well, this is where we will see the difference being made, really, is because in that first half, when Immortals sort of were on their pistols, obviously it looked great for complexity, but as soon as Immortals got the guns in their hands, like you said, there was really only 2 gun rounds that did go the way of complexity.
Are they just going out dry? Okay, no. I was scared for a moment there was going to be no catwalk. But look at this. I really love what complexity are doing right now. So they're trying to play aggressive on towards the A side. Andrew's going to peek first and make contact, and Peter's going to get the trade. So they go for 1 for the informational play. It works out pretty well. But now complexity know that at least 2 more on towards the A bomb site. Now Slimmer's got a lot of work to do with the FAMAS, and Destiny, if he checks his line, should be able to get the kill, but won't be able to do so. But there's B site just cracked open very quick. compLexity needed to understand that the models had limited utility. It would have been something fast, and compLexity just had to blow the utility early, and still just takes a duel, just wide swinging out. Why not? Peter has to save the AWP. So even though the A aggression is a good idea because it tries to shut down whatever Immortal takes on the A bomb site, there isn't the same idea being implemented towards B or mid. You can't really do so because you don't have enough manpower, and Immortals will take the first... Well, they didn't even have a full investment in their buy round. It was just AKs and limited utility, but they'll be able to take it. And compLexity, they'll be able to save the ult forward to the next round, and that's about it. They can still buy up, though. They had really, really good rounds before that.
Yeah, but you can immediately see the difference, really, and having a look at that economy, yeah, they're going to have a great buy through to the next round. Peter, of course, is saving the AWP, so he's just going to be pretty much full on utilities, and everyone else is sitting well above 5k, which is more than enough for them to purchase into.
I wonder if the only question is, I wonder if they'll get a double AWP set up very early on, and they will indeed. And this is something you normally see now coming in towards Mirage, because what you do is that you get your AWP in towards B apps, and you just sit in the line. It's such a potent line where you at least get one, and you can fall off so safely because you can't flood out if you're on the side of Immortals. Then you get an AWP sitting on A site, like Peter, who can play dynamic, who just sit towards Ticket and just hold off one position. And then the rest of the rifles can just roam around and try to take controllers. Bolt spraying forward, can't find the player in city connected just yet, even though Def was spraying through.
Still 5v5 though. Immortals haven't lost any players, and they have taken control of mid. So it's a good early start for Immortals here, but it seems as though Slemmy is keen to contest that, as he's having a peek out through short, and Zach will take down Ye.
Oh dear.
B-bomb site perhaps cracked open here again by Immortals. Zach just needs this kill onto Slemmy, and that's going to be all she wrote really for compLexity in this round. But dancing around, 1v1, and it goes the way of Zach. Great shot from him, and Slemmy perhaps a little bit of strange movement out from him.
Yeah, and Zach is like, yeah, I'm a coach, but, you know, been sinking in time in towards the aim prac. Been feeling pretty good recently, so I'm going to go up against some of the sharper members on the side of compLexity and just take them out on the B side by myself and just win the round for Immortals. So, Peter, you'll be able to pick off Destiny, but anything at this stage is just, you know, just a little bit of extra cash injection.
Wow.
Horvey, that is so sharp. What do you do on the side of compLexity when Horvey's on 13 HP? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go in for more. I'm going to go in for a little bit more. And then Android says, there is no more allowed. But Zach goes, here, young Horvey, this is how I did it back in the day. And you just come in, you kill everyone on B site, then you get the third kill as well. And then anyone, later on in life, when anyone says you're just a coach, you remind them exactly what you can do.
Yeah, it's like that whole goon analogy. You put the premium sticker on it.
I don't think you can describe Zach as goon because it was like...
What have we got against goon, mate?
Look, we can describe myself as goon, but we can't talk trash about Zach.
I don't even
Zach
know.
so far has really impressed me.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually been looking really good for Immortals, and I don't even know if the Americans are going to understand what goon is.
Well, they'll be able to Google it maybe afterwards, or just search it up. Do
Google it.
Oh my goodness. It's like the Weet-Bix. Do they know what Weet-Bix is?
Google it. Because that's all they got to do.
Immortals are walking into the stack right now.
They are, but it is just pistols. Really no armor at all on the side of compLexity. And in theory, even though it is a stack from compLexity, they should still lose the round. Immortals have started off well with 3 kills. Peter gets 1, and now it is just Def holding from CT. Gets completely shut out by Bolts. Great round from Immortals. Not really losing too much out of that one. And it will result in a buy now coming through for compLexity, given their money was so good in the first few. But realistically speaking, now Immortals are in striking distance. It seems as though there is no signs of them slowing down.
It's gone, and that's Immortals, right? So the second buy round that they did win when the double AWP setup came out from compLexity, it was on the back of solo players, and that makes me really scared because Immortals have not even executed in any way particular. They've taken mid control, yeah, but they haven't really gone, all right, we're going for a full-fledged execute strategy where we're going down here. They're literally just using this as a pugboard as Peter. What? Oh my goodness, watching the unders through the edge of the smokes, not only does he take out Destiny, but Zach through the wall bang, or the body bang this time.
The goon bang.
No, well, I think this goon analogy should stop.
Oh,
unless there's a good, there is a good way to be doing goon analogies, this is not it.
Oh, well, maybe we should just bring Pilly back.
Your boy Mitch is... Now, Immortals, they're going, yeah, boy, let's go to the B bomb site. Incendiary grenade from Immortals doing more damage towards Bolts as opposed to already their members, and Steel, Well, he's holding firm, but he's eventually going to be pushed down. He's just waiting for Slimmy to peek and then utilize any opportunity he can. So there it is, slowly walking out. Will be able to catch up Yaestar? No, won't be able to do so. Good hold from Yaestar this time around.
Yeah,
punishing Immortals coming their way. But really, Peter started off particularly well towards unders with a collateral. There we go. So they just double peek the line, and Peter just makes it look a little bit too easy.
Yep. So 9 and 13. Immortals, if they do win this round, though, that's going to reset complexity once more. And that's, you can pretty much say goodbye to the map.
I wouldn't even say reset. Complexity, did they even lose a single member in that round? I don't even think they did.
No.
They didn't lose a single member, so they're not going to particularally reset them just yet. That's so critical for Complexity, as Peter does go for a chance shot towards Mirage. I think it'll be Destiny left there as two crawling up through unders, and now Orby will be finally making his way up. Bolt's just lurking towards the A ramp, doesn't realize that Android will be close though. There's two people playing close. What an off angle. If you were Bolt, you'd be a little bit surprised by that. What is that coming up?
Wow, the spray comes through there for Bolts. The one-way smoke working out pretty nicely for him. Def was aware of it, but obviously not able to land the spray, and so the opening is there for Immortals now as they encroach on the A bomb side. It's the split, a few coming in through connector. Bolts does get pushed by Android off the back of that pop flash, but it's not going to be enough here for Complexity, as every other entry does go the way of Immortals. And Complexity are left alive only with Yaestar, and he's going to be saving over towards the B bomb site. Not much that he can do in this one in a 4v1. Have a look at the economy here for Complexity if we can, because
they'll be able to buy up, but it won't be the best buy.
Yeah.
So they'll be lucky to afford an orb. They will be able to get the M4s on the board, and Yaestar taking this AK-47 would be critical, because he'll be the one that can afford the AWP.
Not good news, though, for Complexity, regardless of which way you want to paint it. Even if they can afford to buy through next round, it still means that Immortals going to be putting themselves on 14, and Yaestar does go down to Destiny.
That means no orb. Oh my goodness, that actually was really poor money. I expected better money.
They can afford a couple of rifles, but in fact, it looks like it's just going to be the save here. So Complexity will play for overtime, but against Immortals, the way that they're looking right now, feels as though overtime may be more of a pipe dream. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Immortals are just playing individually better at this stage. They are legitimately treating this just as a, all right, let's just stroll into Mirage. It is the most pug map, so let's actually play the biggest pug style that we can. It works out particularly well. They just split and pick, and they roll on the back of any picks that they get, and that's been their entire strategy. Slemmy pushing forward towards mid, should be heard out, and Zach, he's been so sharp so far, and Destiny's backing up as well. Zach taking Destiny's kill. And now Steel and Zach and Bolts all coming in, having a bit of a pie of the party.
Bit of the goon.
Just a little bit, you know, just spinning it around. Everyone's having a good share.
Playing a good game of Goon of Fortune. Everyone's getting involved.
So many of our American viewers probably be looking at this in the moment going, what is Goon? I don't understand.
What the hell is Goon? Oh my, what is Goon of Fortune? Is that like Wheel of Fortune?
These Aussies are really crazy. We are a little bit crazy sometimes.
America.
Just a little bit, but Complexity. Let's bring it back towards the final round. But Complexity, I don't think there is much.
Isn't that a good analogy for what it is right now, Kevin?
The
final round. It's the final round. It's not necessarily maybe the final round. To me, it does feel like the final round as well.
It's like it feels like last calls at the stage for Complexity. You know, it was like food analogy all the way back for Wednesday evening. I don't know what it was yesterday. Maybe it was banter analogies, and finally it is going to be the drinks analogies coming out.
Yeah, it's like the bottle-o's closing now and Complexity's running, trying to make it to last
I don't even think they know
drinks.
what the bottle-os are at this stage, but Immortals, they do get the first opening pick on towards... Sorry, I mean, Complexity get the first opening pick on towards Bolts, trying to come up through short, and Slemmy's going to be challenged in a moment. I don't know why he looked towards the left, but he shouldn't be looking there, and Yaestar will also pay the price for Destiny opening up. And Immortals just, once again, they just walk onto a bomb site. They just walk up slowly, and Complexity, like... Yeah, so Immortals are just going to go and try and execute here, and Slemmy's, like, just obviously playing Slemmy games where he's just trying to mind game exactly where Immortals are going. Immortals just don't really engage anything. They just decide to use aim, and it works out particularly well. There's no way for him to get into it here, though. He's still locked out, and now Peter misses the orb shot, and that's probably all it. It's just a matter of time before he goes down, and Horvey jump shot him. Do it. They're just holding angles. Zach is pushing in. It's like the coach pushing in, but it's going to be Zach taking it out. And that's, man, like when in your complexity, right? You have a lot of people who've been playing this game for a very long time. You're like rank S aim styles and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this coach guy just strolls in and
A
goes...
coach?
A coach. I have to emphasize that. A coach strolls in and just goes, yo, guys, this is how you entry.
It's like that manager meme. They lost to a manager. Well, now it's a coach, apparently.
Well, Zach has been playing particularly well. I mean, he's like been solid, but this game so far has definitely shown that it's like he can entry. He solo entried and won. I don't know how many rounds for the side of Immortals, just cleaned house. It was just ridiculous.
Not to mention that, but also on the CT side, pretty impressive with the AWP, just holding it down the B apps line.
Absolutely.
Seemed to be really across the board a very, very strong player for Immortals, and maybe not what we would have expected, maybe not what compLexity would have expected, but a 16-9 overall for Immortals. I wouldn't be too disappointed with that by Immortals at all. Like 16-9 is a very, very solid win. It is compLexity's map choice as well, so that puts you in good stead heading into map number 2, and we sort of questioned whether or not Immortals was going to be able to get that 2-0 today. You were quite staunchly of the belief that they should, and it seems as though they've started off well enough to be able to secure that.
It depended on what form compLexity were. Peter on the T side AWP didn't really have that much impact. On the CT side, a little bit more. I mean, on the T side, he had 3 kills. One of them was on the unsuccessful kind of B side hold, and I don't know where the other kills came in from. That's how like unmemorable Peter's T side was. Like lost aim duels against Zach, and sure, Zach was posted in a better position, but he had teammates backing him up. I mean, compLexity really, really strong start on the CT side in terms of the pistol and then taking the 2 forward, but afterwards could never get themselves rolling, and Immortals just kind of strolled their way towards victory, what felt like it on...
They did, because like, yeah, okay, we can say Immortals got 4 rounds on their T side. It was 6-4 on the T side, or in the second half, sorry, where Immortals eventually closed it out. But when you consider that really only one of those was an actual gun round for compLexity, and throughout the entire map, they only picked up 3 gun rounds. Every other round that they ended up winning was kind of like against a force buy or a pistol buy. It's just not really a great situation there for compLexity. So
and that's why I want to point out. It's like if Immortals like did manage to take the anti-eco, and I felt like there was a little bit of unfortunate circumstances which they couldn't. As well as take the pistol on the T side, the scores would look completely different. I'd say it would arguably look like a 16-3, 16-4, and it felt like a 16-3, 16-4 performance where the compLexity, I mean, I think they had an idea where they wanted to execute, but the problem was every single time Immortals were playing hyper-aggressive, and that was a downfall, right, for the side of compLexity, because as soon as they went, okay, we're out of our default, let's all reset and gather up and hit a bomb site, there's already information on the side of Immortals where they've just gone, okay, we're already pushed. They're not setting up for an A site execute. Gee, I wonder where they are.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, look, they're not at mid. Gee, I wonder where they are. There is only going to be one place on the entire map where they're going to be. I can guarantee in a buy round, no one's done a 5-man underpass onto A just particularly yet. No one's done that yet.
You probably wouldn't be expecting to see that, but 16-9 for Immortals, like, overall, I think that's a great start to today for them, and heading into map number 2, they should be feeling pretty confident. Cobblestone is the second map. And so I think that one should be leaning a little bit more on the side of Immortals than Mirage even was. And if you say it should have been probably maybe something like a 16-6 or something, if the pistol round would have gone the way of Immortals, then what can we expect here on Cobblestone? Perhaps a fairly similar result.
I'll have to wait and see. I mean, a lot of the members of compLexity do need to step up the game for map number 2, which will be coming up after the break. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly with some more Goon analogies.